Hey, Coach, so excited you found us on YouTube. Couple things. First of all, go subscribe. We put a new video out every day. Not everyone will be the one you want, but it will give you a notification. Hit that little bell. Second thing is go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Videos, resources, mentoring, office hours, one-on-one calls, you name it. We've got it. Let us help give you some banners and put them in your gym. Let me help you do that. Go over and check it out, teachhoops.com. Let's head off to the video.
All right, welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. All right, Coach, this is hopefully we both do this topic well. I don't know. What's today's topic?
Well, today we're just going to talk about leading by example. And all leadership begins with self-leadership. And so whether it's us leading our team or our team leaders leading our team, the very first thing I think, even before that, is kids have to make the choice to lead. You have to want to be a leader. You have to choose to be a leader. We're in this role because we've chosen the responsibility to lead. The next step after you've made the choice to lead is to lead by example. And ultimately, it's the most important form of leadership, because if we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't model it for our kids, if we don't have our team leaders modeling it for their teammates, they can't do anything else beyond that. And so, when I think of leading by example, to simplify it, you've got actions and you've got words. And, Jerry Kill, who used to coach for the Gophers, had a great quote that I love that says, I hear what you say, but I trust what you do. And so
my grandma used to say actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what my grandma used to say. Yeah,
and they do. And I love the Jerry Kill one, because it's so true. I hear what you say. Like you're taught, your words are important and they matter, but I trust what you do. And ultimately we need these to align. And when you talk about this with team leaders, I hear what you say, I trust what you do. And everything is based on their ability to lead themselves and to lead by example. And our best leaders, I think coming up on a podcast, we're going to talk about the very best leaders we've had. But step one, especially high school kids, lead yourself first. And the reality is, if we all do a good job of leading ourselves first, if we all do a good job of leading by example, right, you don't really need leadership.
No, you don't need leaders at all. My best teams had my top 7 were all leaders. I'm telling you, they were all leaders.
Not that they're all great vocal leaders, but if they're all doing the right thing themselves, everything else works.
Yeah.
And so, focus on you first. Be the best version of you and do the right thing, and then everything else will sort itself out. So, actions and words and preaching this with kids and leading yourself first are just so incredibly important.
I know it really is. It's like, and the funny thing is they're always watching. It's like a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, or they're always watching. Like they know. So you can say this one thing, but if your actions don't follow that, then they're always watching. They always know. Like
always. And we know this as parents. Heck, when I talk about this leadership stuff and I go present at different schools and I talk about, leadership models and leading by example, and we go through this framework and stuff with schools and kids, I always ask the kids, I said, a lot of adults, teachers, coaches, do they do this really well? A lot of them don't. Adults, it's hard for adults to lead by example sometimes.
Yep.
A lot of times. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. It's the one thing that we can do, one thing we can control is be the best version of ourselves. And again, if we all did that, like we said, you wouldn't need leadership. Nick Saban had a great talk on this concept. And he said, we've got 100 people at Alabama football, and we all talk about leadership a lot. We need leaders in this offensive line group, in our D line, and our secondary, and our linebackers. And bottom line is, if they all lead themselves, we don't need leadership. Same thing we just talked about. He talks about that at the University of Alabama. And so, how do we get that is the key. How do we grow that? We need to talk about it as coaches. We need to model it. We need to build and develop it from an early age with our kids.
Right. And talk about it. Like,
Absolutely.
like, here is an example of leadership. Here is what we want you to do. Because otherwise they don't necessarily know.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we forget to do that. We assume a lot. We all assume a lot. Well, kids should just know. Or, I mean, I hear it all the time. Or coaches, well, if I only had leaders, we'd be good. And that's kind of what, when I built the Team Leader OS, and I've got my athlete version now for parents to buy for their kids. I've got the coach version for coaches to use with their teams, and then I've got the school version for an AD. But it's all about, we can either wait and wish for team leaders, or we can purposely try to develop them. And not that this system is always going to be the perfect way to do it, but you have to do something.
Right.
You
Right.
have to purposely build this with kids. Otherwise, they don't know. You can't assume they know how to be a leader. They can't assume they know how to lead by example.
Well, and the issue with your OS too is like, why not use? We've all anyone that's a leader has tried things and they haven't worked, and then you pivot and you try something else, and then eventually you figure out kind of what works and what doesn't work.
What works for you?
What works for you? Well, you've already done all that hard work for people. In some respects, it's like coaching. It's like 30 years in, it's like, shoot, I know I'm not going to do that the first week because that doesn't work. Like, you learn, and that's what experience will give you. There's
Absolutely.
negatives to it too, but the positives are you kind of learn what works and what doesn't work.
I'm so purposeful in relationships and conversations with kids. Like, they're all teachable moments. Every conversation we're having with a kid is molding them into the leader or the culture that we want in our team. And I think as coaches, we really have to think that way.
I agree. All right. That's a good point to end on, Coach. All right. Until next week.
We'll see ya.
Hey, Coach. So glad you enjoyed that video. Hope you did, at least. Let me know how I can help. Join Teachhoops.com. I've been through it all. I've won championships, got a lot of rings. Let me know how I can help you become a better basketball coach, too.